Hey, welcome to Top Shelf Tech. We're talking about disruptive technology today, and as part of our disruptive technology series, we are going to discuss unleashing AI, and who better than to discuss it with than Asa Cox from Arcanum Ai in Wellington, New Zealand. Asa, welcome along.
Thanks, Jeremy. It's great to be here. It's always good to talk about improving the industry with some good tech.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys in particular in a very exciting area, and one that's still really developing. And I think that's a big part of your business proposition is moving along to make it more accessible. And maybe to kick us off, you want to give us a bit of a rundown on what it is you guys do and how you are unleashing AI on the world.
Sure. No, thanks. So we're, as you say, helping people unleash their awesome. I think COVID has kind of shown the world that good digital experiences are here to stay and kind of a necessary part of business success. A lot of people have been investing in data and cloud, as you guys know well. But what we've seen is a bit of a challenge to really get the exciting, intelligent features into people's software. And so our platform and our company is focused on getting people from kind of idea all the way through to integration of intelligent features powered by machine learning and AI.
And so how does that work? They pick up the phone, call you up and say, hey, we've got this problem. This is what we want to solve. We've got a few ideas on it. How do you help us out?
At the moment, yeah, it is kind of that modality. We are working towards a pure platform play where out of the box, people will be able to build their own intelligent workflows, output an API, and then kind of integrate it into their software. So that's what our platform is. That's the roadmap that we're working towards. But at the moment, yeah, it's a bit more service oriented upfront. So we talk with companies about the kind of features that they're hoping to build or integrate. Maybe they've promised their shareholders or their brochure says powered by AI and it hasn't quite got there yet. And so, yeah, we're really there to help enable those. So we've got a team of data scientists, we've got the expert machine learning engineers, and we kind of bundle that together into infrastructure as code, an API, and kind of off people go into really releasing the intelligent features into their software.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big field, right, in artificial intelligence, and I think it means many different things to many different people. How would you break down what it is that you guys do and maybe with some examples of the engagements you've had and the sort of results that you guys deliver?
Yeah, when we talk about artificial intelligence, you're right. There's the technical definitions and there's what the market understands it to be, and we kind of look at it as processes and functions that humans could not do either all of it or part of it, either at the speed or the scale or the complexity that's needed for the software to really have that level of intelligence. So we work across a number of different, or kind of all of the domains really of AI and ML. We work on computer vision. So we were just talking before we came on air about the work that we've done with New Zealand Rugby, and now we kind of do across multiple sports. And that's taking video and tracking all of the players throughout the field. So generating those XY coordinate data for deeper analysis, but without having the little devices on the jerseys. We've done other computer vision work for Transpower, for example, identifying damaged power lines from images captured by drones. So kind of more in the industrial kind of space. But then also done work in predictive analytics, which is probably the broadest category where we also see the most demand at the moment. And that's being able to plug in a predictive element into an existing business intelligence process. We kind of argue that actually most people are in business information. Then they're trying to get to business insights. And actually, whilst we call it business intelligence, not many people are actually at the intelligent part of that. And so we're plugging in predictive analytics into existing BI pipelines. So stuff like customer churn, customer retention, next best action, categorization, that kind of stuff.
So if we pick up on that example as a bit of a low bar, an entry point, maybe you've got some data, you want to go get some results out of it. How much off the shelf is this? You just plug it into the platform and it starts telling you insights versus how much do you come up with a hypothesis and sit down and sort of go, we kind of think that these things might be happening in this way. What are the data points we maybe need to track and think about in that regard?
Yeah, it's kind of outcome driven backwards. So when we start looking at what do you need as a business, what kind of insight are you looking to gain that can help you make a better decision, whether that be about an investment, whether about project allocation, resource allocation, whatever it may be, maybe part of your reporting process. We kind of work backwards from that to go, okay, what would you like to be able to predict? You know, what prediction would have the most impact on your business right now? And then we kind of work back from that to go, okay, what data do you have available? What does your tech stack, your kind of pipelines look like? And then our data science team will be able to build the model, or we can work with the client and their data insights or data science team to build the model. And then our platform picks it up from there and productionizes it. So it kind of does all the automated scripting, the containerization API. So then the integration into the BI dashboard or the reporting tool is then super simple to do.
This is still quite out there. You know, they've heard about AI, but they're not quite sure how that applies to their business. But also, you know, how to get started. Is it they write a big check and they have to somehow make a business case and get ROI, or they start small with an experiment? What kind of advice would you give to businesses that are just going, I think there might be something here, but how do I actually, from a business perspective, approach this and demonstrate that it's something that's going to deliver value to the business?
Yeah, I think this is a really important shift in understanding and perception. I think historically, when I say historically, 2 or 3 years ago, I think, including ourselves, we were all saying AI is really hard. You need a team of data scientists. It's super complex and it's super expensive. And kind of you need a good budget and so on. Whereas now, actually, in order to build momentum, which is kind of what we want as an organization and the industry should also be seeking, is momentum for more and more use cases, more and more adoption of machine learning. So what we're doing with our platform is just lowering the bar right down to near zero, right? So if somebody's already got a data science team, maybe they've done some work with one of the AWS ML services, but they actually want to take that next step to move from the proof of concept into production, which is the bit where at the moment 80% of projects fail at the point of IT integration. So we're basically lowering the bar to say we will charge you nothing until it's in prod. So we're trying to kind of remove all financial barriers to say, look, actually, with the right skills and the right tech, you can get value in days, not weeks or months.
And look, you know, you mentioned cloud services, some of the AWS stuff. You know, Azure's kind of growing their cognitive services as well, and other AI pieces. How important is the development of that ecosystem to what you guys are doing, and the ability for customers, I guess, to leap in, get a pretty quick return, and not have to make sort of massive investments in building it out themselves?
Yeah, I think for all of us it's huge, right? I mean, I think we all see the power and the value of apps like Netflix and Spotify and Uber. We all want those user experiences. We all want the personalization and the adaptation and the smarts behind it. And so the ecosystem of capability is really important. And I think we're focused on trying to stitch that together and make integration into those software applications super easy. So you know, we work with cognitive services and with the AWS ML services to build out those workflows to enable them to be used really, really easily. Because as you kind of alluded to, the build it yourself option is a longer term project. It takes different and more resources to be able to do that. Whilst the capability out of the box is there with those services, the actual training or configuring of those services, all the way through to having the right compute, all the way through to having the right kind of integration, you know, that takes a team, takes a decent sized budget and a decent amount of time. So, you know, I think the ecosystem has the components, and what we're trying to do is pull them all together to get that return on investment super quick.
Yeah, awesome. And look, you know, one of the probably more out there use cases that I've seen, you mentioned that you do a bit of sport. It was you know, a couple of years ago now at a conference in the US, watching as, you know, basically UFC fighters had this kind of gamified sort of Tekken type, you know, or Mortal Kombat type overlay that sort of showed, you know, they got hit, what was the damage, what was their fatigue levels like, and that kind of stuff. How far does this stuff go? I mean, how far does this go in terms of creating and packaging up new products and sort of fundamentally different ways that we're going to engage with, content or with data in businesses?
I think massively, right? I think we've kind of all seen the demonstrations of VR and AR. We kind of go, it'd be great, but how do we get to that point? And then where's the business value that kind of goes into it? But I think as we begin to pull together data with artificial intelligence, with some of that consumption layer, those kind of those different modes, then I think we will see the reinvention of consumption in some areas, and sport is definitely one of those. Through our sport division, Play in the Grey, we're fortunate that along with AWS, we are talking to a number of the major sporting bodies around the world, and they are all looking kind of, as COVID has impacted their revenue streams and changed the way people want to consume sport, they're looking at reinventing their offering as well. So I think in the not too distant future, we will see in broadcast near real-time analytics, from computer vision kind of. We will see AR and VR kind of replays and simulations of the sports. So I think we are going to get pretty close to pulling together a more Netflix-like experience for sports broadcast and sports media. And I think for some, that's going to be fantastically exciting. And for others, it may be, verging on destroying their love of sport. But I think we're going to have the options, right? I mean, I think the in-stadium experience and the in-home experience or the mobile experience, we'll at least have the choices of how we want to interact with those kinds of sports.
Yeah, and look, you mentioned Play in the Grey. Do you want to just delve into a little bit more about Play in the Grey? Because I've seen a little bit of what you guys have done there myself, and seen a few awards and stuff that you guys have been up to, and it's looks like some really impressive stuff that you're building from down here in New Zealand and sort of exporting out to the globe.
Yeah, that's been super exciting since we started working with New Zealand Rugby for the Japan World Cup. Looking at that high performance kind of view of competitor analysis, what we've worked on, what we've been building since then, is being able to process broadcast video and get that same level of high density, high fidelity analytics data. So we're with our AI models, we're able to generate 1 million points of data per minute, which is obviously way beyond what humans can generate and process. And then we're using that to do event detection. So when did a pass happen? When did a kick happen? When did a tackle happen? And that's being used in a number of different ways. But at the moment, is typically somebody sat in a stadium or somebody watching the video, multiple humans, pushing buttons as these things happen. And so we're automating that process. So then teams of different sizes, not just the world leaders, will have access to kind of video analytics using the AI that we've built here in Wellington. Yeah,
that's awesome. And so I guess that you've been doing the consulting work, you've been building the platform. What is the vision, I guess, for the company, and where do you want to take the platform ultimately, and what is that there to enable?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking from the beginning about how AI ML is a transformational technology, and I think what we've been frustrated about is the fact that people have been bolting it on, around the edges of an organization, but no one has really gone in and said, right, we want to really have it as a foundational tech. We want to build the next generation of our user experiences, our products, our internal systems. And we understand that, of course, it's hard to go all in on something. But we know that those companies who are the digital natives, the ones that I keep referring to, are by far and away the global leaders because they have machine learning and AI at the core. And so for us, we want to be our platform to be able to enable organizations to make that transition, to go on the journey from the kind of legacy, siloed, disconnected, non-data driven or non-intelligent kind of application ecosystem to have something which is more closely resembles, the cloud native experience. So, we're going to have a platform which out of the box will have a whole bunch of pre-built workflows that are going to enable use cases across document processing, image processing, predictive analytics. We're going to have very automated processes of getting that deployed with the right level of compute, so the high performance is there. And then we're going to work towards integrations with those end systems. So whether it be a Salesforce or other CRMs, operational platforms like Monday.com and so on. So then you get the real end-to-end view of the value that machine learning can bring to your business. So for us, it is about lowering the bar to make it accessible, get return on investment really, really quick, and then go on the journey with these companies and support them as they build out machine learning across their organization.
Awesome. I guess one other question in the back of my mind, is this all possible without where we're at with cloud today? And how much is this underpinned by, you mentioned Salesforce and Monday as these kind of SaaS applications. You've mentioned AWS a couple of times. How much for businesses is this about, cloud maturity around, being, as we get more and more cloud native applications, being able to easily plug in and exchange data and get more value out of the platforms we've got?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important on that cloud adoption journey, not just because of the data layer, but also when you start doing stuff at web scale, when you actually push some of these things outside of the organization into the hands of customers, you need the compute capability, the flexibility, the on-demand nature, the serverless nature of what the cloud can offer. And so I think that's an incredibly important momentum shift as cloud adoption continues. And I think if you look even further forwards, into the world of 5G and what that's going to enable, that means actually having compute at the edge, having AI at the edge is then going to become something again which is accessible to organizations of all shapes and sizes. And so what we're trying to do is get people to think about Horizon 2, Horizon 3, and instead of thinking that's 5 years away and millions of dollars, going right, actually how can you start the journey right now? Because most of the pieces of the puzzle are already in place. We kind of say, look, all of the world's problems pretty much are solved by technology. It's just a case of the humans getting in the way of getting them in the hands of everybody that needs them. Cool.
Awesome. Hey, look, thanks a lot for joining us today. It's been really interesting to hear about all the work that you guys are doing and some, I guess, democratizing the technology, putting it in the hands of many to have a huge impact. So really joining us, and also thanks to Brent Colbert, who's recently joined your team, for connecting us up for this conversation today.
No, I really appreciate the opportunity to chat. Really interesting. Thanks for the questions. And look forward to working with you guys on bringing some more awesome to New Zealand.
Awesome. Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jeremy.